Hello and welcome to this episode of Tales from Beyond the Grade. This is Jedi Teacher Man, and yes, it's that time of year again when parent conferences are coming around. So, in this episode, we're going to look at some of the key things you can do as a parent to prepare for your child's parent conference. So, parent conferences, student-led conferences, scholar-led conferences, over the last few years, they've taken on slightly different forms. I know student-led conferences, when I first did them about 15 years ago, were great, okay? It gave your child authority, it gave them autonomy and the opportunity to advocate for themselves and present their learning, which is great for some students, right? It's great for some kids, but like everything in education and in this world, not everything suits everyone. There isn't a one-size-fits-all remedy. So I know one of the things that parents used to say to me back in the day with student-led conferences, and we've got a guest today. Here's Nina the cat, everyone. Go on, come on, say hello. You just can't, it's all going wrong. Right, there we go. Look, say hi, Nina. You're not going to say hi because you're a cat. Okay, is that it? Okay. Any of you that actually see my TikTok, TikToks, I guess, may have met Nina. She's loves the limelight. She really does. Go on, sweetheart. Okay. Right. The one thing that I used to get a lot from parents was, okay, so my kid has told me all these things about how they're doing in school and how their work's going, and I've seen some of their best work. But you, the teacher or the professional, what's your opinion of what's going on? What's your perception? What's your perspective? So this is what this episode is all about, is ensuring that you just go to the conference and you make sure you're prepared to have that conversation with the teacher. You have every right to speak to the teacher about whatever it is that you want to know. You have every right to explain to the teacher anything you feel that the teacher needs to know, because that's just as important. So let's go through a few things. First of all, you can prepare some questions before you go, right? Now, I can't tell you what these questions are going to be because your child is your child and no one knows your child like you do. But there's going to be questions that you'll have about, for example, how are they doing in math? They were struggling in fractions, or they were struggling in doubling numbers. Whatever you knew was a struggle, you have the right to know that they've either mastered that or it's still a problem. And if it is a problem, work with your teacher. Your teacher wants the best for your child. So ask your teacher, what is it we can do together to get across the next hurdle? So by all means, take a list. Take a list of questions, prepare it beforehand. Please, though, do let your teacher know that, hey, I'm not coming in here to interrogate you. I'm not coming in here to put pressure on you. I just wanted to have my ducks in a row before I came to the conference because these are the specific things I want to help support my child with. And as I've just said, we're all about supporting your child. And the more those conversations are going on, the more that you're having that teamwork approach, then your child can only be better off for that. Another thing is really be aware that there are no gotchas here. No one's trying to catch the teacher out. No one's trying to catch you out as a parent. There's no judgment on you as a parent. There's no judgment on your child. It is what it is, right? The data is going to show that your kid's doing excellently well and got mastery of certain concepts. It may show that there's a real deficit of understanding in a particular area. The fact of the matter is, it is what it is. And it will remain that way if you don't talk to your kid's teacher about how to remedy that. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is next steps, which really should be called immediate steps, because the next steps are going to happen probably as soon as you get home, right? It may be, you've really got to work on reading 2 or 3 chapters a night, or reading for a set period of time. If you've seen my previous podcast, I'm not a fan of that, but reading for 30 minutes a night is better than not reading at all. Read for 30 minutes a night and then finish the chapter you're on when the 30 minutes is up. That's my little quick tip on that one. So know when you leave the conference, what are your kids' next steps in math? What are your kids' next steps in reading? What are their next steps in writing? What are their next steps in the sciences? And middle school, I mainly speak to elementary parents, but if you're a middle school parent, whatever subject it is, what are the next steps, which literally you're going to take either that day or the following day. And next steps naturally are connected to goals, right? Goals. Long-term goals, short-term goals, medium goals, right? Short-term goals are whatever the immediate steps are. Yeah, they're related to that. So if you've got, my short-term goals are to master math facts, master multiplication facts up to 12 times 12, right? Well, if your kid knows the 3 times table and the 4 times table and the 5 times table, next steps are literally right now we can start working on 6 times table. And if the goal is that we're going to have all of our multiplication tables mastered by the end of the month or the end of next month, then the immediate next steps are 6 times tables, 10 minutes every night, practicing them. Nice and simple, nothing difficult, nothing that no one hasn't done before, and nothing that hasn't worked before. So these things work. And finally, I do have to emphasize this, and I alluded to it earlier. Know that your teacher wants the very best for your child. They did not go to college, and many teachers have got master's degrees and have set their career up to do what it is they're doing. And your child is one of the benefactors of that process for that human being. They are in your child's classroom every day, wanting your child to do the best that they can do, right? So there may be things that are an obstacle. It may be certain things that they don't like because they don't come easy to the child, but your teacher wants the best for your child. It may be that some of the behaviors aren't ideal. So they will work with you to sort how one of the next steps could be, let's make sure that we're concentrating more in class. How can we set that up? Because your teacher wants the best for your child. This is a journey, and this is what you always have to bear in mind. It's for a long time, right? So your child is on a journey through education. They are, or should be aiming to be, what a term I've heard recently is a career student, right? They're a career student. They are going into 3rd grade with the view of being ready to go into 4th grade and master what 4th grade is about, and then master all of the standards in 5th grade and building a career, because just in the way that you build educational strength, don't we do that with our physical strength and our health? People don't go running because they've got a world title fight coming up or a Super Bowl to play in. They go because they know it makes them feel better. And education is like fitness of the mind, right? Fitness of the brain. And just by that success, or just through that success, we feel better about ourselves than, I never did well in chemistry, right? That was me, right? Never did well in chemistry. So anything science, however I speak to someone science, I feel inferior. So just know that the journey of a career student is ongoing, and it's not always going to go in the right direction, right? It's going to go south sometimes. Our job as teachers, as parents, as the village, is to ensure that we get that student back on track. We get your child on the right track, and we keep them on the right track. And it's human nature, right? It's unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen, but we know that if we pull together as a unit, success is far more likely than if we don't. So work with your teacher and have faith in the fact that your teacher wants the very best for your child. So that's it for this episode of Tales from Beyond the Grade. Parent conferences, massively important. Please make sure you attend your child's conference. Whatever comes up, if you have to rearrange it and do it one evening after school or before school one morning, make it happen. Have those conversations. Go prepared with the questions. We're all on the same team. And may the force of teaching and learning be with you always.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Tales from Beyond the Grade podcast with me, Jedi Teacher Man. Please hit the like button and subscribe to this podcast channel. You can also follow me at Jedi Teacher Man on Instagram, subscribe to Jedi Teacher Man on YouTube, and for us TikTokers out there, follow Beyond the Grade podcast. Thank you so much, and I look forward to you tuning in again very soon.